What is Fight Club really about? If you ask a communist, he'll say that Fight Club is an anti-capitalist story about consumerism and the 99% rising up against the corporations that exploit them. If you ask an anarcho-primitivist, he'll say that Fight Club is about the evils of our modern industrial society and how we must return to a primal, wild, hunter-gatherer existence. If you ask Jordan Peterson, he'll say that
I thought Fight Club was deeply fascist in a very interesting way. It was fascist because it was a celebration in some sense of force. It was fascist sort of in the same way that the Iron Man character is fascist, you know.
Dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten.
All these takes have some truth in them. Fight Club certainly has Marxist, anti-capitalist, anarcho-primitivist themes, but it's also a warning about urban nihilism and modern depravity. What binds all these themes together? Why do far-right fascists, far-left communists, and radical anarcho-primitivists all love this movie? All of this, the gun, the bombs, the revolution, has something to do with a man named Friedrich Nietzsche.
Okay, you are now firing a gun at your imaginary friend. You're firing a gal like a weapon!
Behold, I show you the last man. What is love? What is creation? What is longing? What is a star? So asked the last man, and blinks. The earth has become small, and on it hops the last man who makes everything small. One no longer becomes poor or rich. Both are too burdensome. No shepherd and one herd. Everyone wants the same. Everyone is the same. The last man is a warning. He is a small-souled, pathetic creature with no ambition or courage. He chooses comfort and mediocrity over struggle and excellence. At the beginning of Fight Club, the narrator is a perfect image of the last man. He's a consumer, a wage slave, a weak and timid man addicted to IKEA catalogs. He lives a mere bovine existence, never enduring true hardship or true happiness. Nietzsche tells us to be powerful, confident individuals. The narrator has no individuality. He has no identity. The script doesn't even give him a name, he's just the narrator. He wears fake name tags to each different support group, switching from one shallow, artificial identity to another. He seeks his identity in consumerism, in fashionable sofas and coffee tables. One of the weird, vulgar motifs of Fight Club is getting your balls cut off.
These guys are gonna take your balls.
We gotta get his balls.
This isn't just gross, over-the-top violence. The philosophy of Tyler Durden is that the modern world has cut off your balls. You are neutered, you are domesticated, you are a tiger in a cage. This is made explicit through the character of Bob. Bob used to be a bodybuilder, a champion, a warrior. But he got testicular cancer, so now his hormones are messed up. His wife and kids abandon him, and he is left as a shell of a man. But Bob is able to escape this despair to reclaim his masculinity through Fight Club. This ties into another concept from Nietzsche, the contrast between Apollo and Dionysus. Apollo is the god of light and order and reason. Dionysus is the god of chaos, music, drunkenness, irrationality, and ritual. Apollo is the superego, the reason. Dionysus is the id, the desires. For Nietzsche, a good life, just like good art, balances these two gods. If you only have Dionysus, you're a total degenerate drug addict and you die of STDs at the age of 25. But if you only have Apollo, your life becomes repetitive and dull and mundane. In Fight Club, we see an entire generation of men who have lost the Dionysian fire. They dwell in a barren wasteland of therapy, celebrity magazines, and insomnia. Into this Apollonian world of routine and conformity comes Tyler Durden, like Dionysus in a leather jacket. He's an agent of chaos, breaking up the monotonous wage slave world with violence, with an ecstatic embrace of life. Fight Club is religious. It's a spiritual experience of wild frenzy and berserker rage. Just as Roman followers of Dionysus had their drunken, violent orgies, the Bacchanalia, where they'd literally tear animals apart with their bare hands, Tyler's followers have the savage, primal ritual of Fight Club. The message is clear. Do something stupid, get punched in the face, start a fight. Once you've been punched in the face a few times, talking to that cute girl or standing up to your boss doesn't seem so scary. That's the philosophy of White Boy Summer. Let go. Live a life that's extreme and dangerous and beautiful. In Nietzsche's words, become a blonde beast of prey, a warrior, a fighter, a barbarian. Nietzsche's philosophy is all about embracing life with all its pain and suffering. But in Fight Club, the narrator tries to hide from life, to retreat from suffering through Buddhist meditation.
I'm going to my cave and find my power animal.
No! Don't deal with it the way those dead people do. Come on!
Nietzsche saw Buddhism as a world-denying religion. The monks who run away from life by suppressing their desires and spending their lives meditating in the Himalayas, they aren't saints, they're cowards. Nietzsche wants us to say yes to life, joyfully and courageously. As Julius Evola would say, ride the tiger. Stop coping, stop running away, and just let go. Let the pain and tragedy of existence wash over you, and smile.
The middle children of history, man. No purpose, no place. We have no great war, no great depression. Great was a spiritual war. Our great depression was our lives.
God is dead. God remains dead. And we have killed him. This is one of the most misunderstood passages in the history of philosophy. When Nietzsche says that God is dead, he's not speaking literally. What he really means is that objective morality is dead. Nietzsche was an atheist, but this passage isn't really about that. It's about the modern sense of meaninglessness, of hopeless nihilism. There's a very common misconception that Nietzsche was a nihilist. On the contrary, his entire project was about overcoming nihilism. Tyler Durden has the exact same goal.
What did you want to be, Raymond K. Hessel?
Of course, Tyler never intended to kill this guy. His gun wasn't even loaded. He gave Raymond a near-death experience so that Raymond would remember the beauty of life.
That wasn't funny. What the fuck was the point of that?
Tomorrow will be the most beautiful day of Raymond K. Hessel's life. His breakfast will taste better than any meal you and I have ever tasted.
Nietzsche wants us all to have that feeling, to remember that life is good, that there are things worth living for. For Raymond, it's veterinary medicine. For us, it might be beauty, honor, glory, or family. You don't need objective morality in order to love those things. Who cares if our values aren't objective? They're still our values. We don't need some sort of philosophical justification. For Nietzsche, the Übermensch is the man who can accept this truth and courageously assert his own values onto the world.
All I am is a man. I want the world in my hands. I hate the beach, but I stand and carry
It was me.
We are byproducts of the lifestyle obsession. Murder, crime, poverty, these things don't concern me. What concerns me? Celebrity magazines.
I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
There's a lot to admire about Tyler Durden. His charisma, his confidence, his physique, his power. But he ultimately has his limits. Tyler's violence is driven by resentment against the rich. He destroys successful businesses, he blows up credit card companies, he vandalizes wealthy people's cars. Tyler works at a high-end fancy restaurant and he urinates in the drinks. That's the definition of petty resentment. Nietzsche would say that Tyler, for all his strength and greatness, struggles with a hidden feeling of inferiority. Deep down, he sees himself as lesser. And this bitterness drives him to lash out at everyone more successful than himself. You can resist domestication without descending into random senseless violence. In fact, maybe random senseless violence is itself a symptom of domestication. Project Mayhem was supposed to save the narrator from emasculation, but it ends up trying to emasculate him in the most literal way possible.
You're a genius, sir.
You said if anyone ever interferes with Project Mayhem, even you, we gotta get his balls.
Tyler is necessary. We need a bit of chaos in our lives. We need that wild Dionysian spirit. But it must be checked by the spirit of Apollo, by order and reason. The Dionysian rituals of our pagan past were meant as rituals of initiation. Taking psychedelic mushrooms, sleeping in the freezing cold wilderness, wrestling a lion with your bare hands. It was a mystical, ecstatic experience of pain, violence, and insanity. But you can't stay in that berserker rage forever. Sooner or later, you have to come back to the village and find a girl and make a life for yourself. That's exactly what the narrator does. He kills Tyler Durden and rejects Project Mayhem because he wants to protect Marla Singer.